Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, grandparents raising grandchildren because of opiate epidemic share stories. Grandparents who have had to take over caring for their grandchildren because of the opioid crisis shared their stories Monday at a round table discussion. U.S. Senator Maggie Hassan led the discussion in Concord. Grandparents said they face unique challenges as they raise grandchildren whose parents became addicted to opiates. A recent study by the University of New Hampshire found there may be thousands of grandparents in the state who have taken on the care of their grandchildren whose parents are abusing opiates. Hassan said she wants to make sure services for grandparents in such situations are integrated on the school, local, state, and federal levels. One woman who was caring for her grandchild until their parents got sober said it's important that the system be flexible. Hassan said she was traveling back to Washington after the discussion to vote on a bipartisan opiate bill. Han wins congressional primary recount. Coy concedes. Democrat Dan Coy sent a message to supporters Monday as the recent recount in the 3rd District came to a close, urging them to unite behind Lori Trehan. Minutes later, Secretary of the Commonwealth William Galvin announced that printing of absentee ballots with Trehan's name as the Democratic nominee for representative in the 3rd Congressional District will begin immediately. Trehan added slightly to her lead over Dan after weekend recounts in several communities, including the Merrimack Valley cities of Lawrence and Lowell. Trehan and Coy were the top two finishers on September 4th among 10 candidates vying for Democratic nomination for the seat held by Democratic U.S. Rep. Nikki Tosgas, who did not seek re-election. Trehan led Coy by 122 votes prior to the recount. According to Secretary of State William Galvin's office, the margin has now increased to 143 votes. Trehan will face Republican Rick Green and independent candidate Mike Mullen in November. Convicted Maine murderer on run has escaped before. Let's take a listen to the video from WMTW News 8 Maine.
Hancock Lumber is not just a business in this area, it's a part of this community.
Yep, sometimes we connect. So 6, a convicted murderer on the run here in Maine for a 4th day this morning. 65-year-old Arnold Nash escaped from a minimum security prison near Bangor last Thursday night. And it is not the first time he has escaped. He also got out in 1981, serving time for a different case. He took off from a prison farm in Warren with another inmate. Now, a game warden who helped find Nash 37 years ago is talking about what he remembers.
I don't know what the mindset is, whether he'll put up a lot of resistance at this time or whether he just wants to end up being caught and maybe go back into prison.
Well, it took 22 days to capture Nash back in 1981, and just like this time, he only had about a year left on his sentence.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. If you know where he is or see him, call your local authorities. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Monday evening. And here's a look at your U.S. stock market. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the red and went down. Your Nasdaq closed in the red and went down. S&P 500 closed in the red and went down. CNBC IQ 100 closed in the red and went down. Gold closed in the green and went up. Oil closed in the red and went down. US 10-year closed flat. Euro/USD closed in the red and went down. And VIX closed in the green and went up. Stocks fell after Trump says U.S.-China trade announcement coming after the bell. Stocks closed lower on Monday after President Donald Trump said an announcement on U.S.-China trade war will be coming after the close. Steep losses in some of the biggest tech shares also pressured the broader market. Trump defends Supreme Court nominee aimed sexual assault allegations. President Donald Trump on Monday defended his Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh as somebody very special, but said, "We want to go through a full process and hear everybody out on the sexual assault allegations against him." And that does it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Monday night, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night, everyone. Bye.